Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chella and this is CellaReadsABit. Today I'm going to be doing my December wrap-up. December wasn't too bad of a reading month. I wouldn't say it was the best and I wouldn't say it was the worst. There was good books, there was bad books, and then there was just in the middle. So essentially I'm just going to get into it because not too much more to say. It was December, it was holiday season, a lot going on. But the first book I read and finished in December was Dead as a Doornail, which is the 5th book in the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlene Harris. This was actually a reread. Back years ago, my sister had bought the box set. She never really read them. She gave them to me, I read them, and then recently, like a month or two ago, I think a month ago, I was watching Becca's old vlogs, and she was reading them, and I'm like, I kind of feel like reading that. I was kind of like in a slump. Didn't really feel like reading anything, but then for some reason this piqued my interest again. So it's like, you know what? Sounds like an easy thing to get through. Let me just pick those up. So obviously got to the 5th one, finished that in December. It's fine. It's not the best literature. It's easy to get through. We all know the story. Well, I'd be surprised if you don't know what the at least True Blood is. Sookie, barmaid at Merlot's. There's supernatural creatures like werewolves, fairies, blah blah, and obviously vampires. So it all starts when Bill, who's a vampire, walks in, and Sookie, who is a telepath, is enamored with him because she's bombarded with people's thoughts all day, and then when he walks in, it's like a blank space and it's like peaceful. So she gets infatuated with him like almost immediately, and she makes decisions. Things were done, things happened, and she gets sucked into this whole vampire supernatural stuff. It's fine, easy to read, not really much to say other than that. It literally does the trick. It hits the spot, easy to get through. I gave it 3 stars. I don't know what I would have given it if I would have rated it back when I first read it, because that was like years ago and that was before I rated books or used Goodreads or whatever. So, I mean, 3 stars, fine. Next book wasn't a book, it was a novella, which kind of helps between this one and the next book. Definitely did. So that's a novella called One Word Answer, which is like a glimpse before the events of that book. So I read that. It was fine. It was a novella. It was really short. I'm not gonna rate a novella really, except for the one. But yeah, that one was fine. Next I read Definitely Dead after that, which was a reread. It was fine. Again, 3 stars. It's a 6th in a series, so I can't really go into this one either. More characters are brought in. There's drama. Kind of a plot that gets... The problem is that the plot gets wrapped up so quick. It's like you have this build up and then a quick resolution, and then it's done, and then the book is over, and you're like... I mean, it's fun, I guess. I don't like Bill. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, I don't know. I do not care for Bill. Kind of happier in the later books as I'm reading them, because I only got to the 7th one, and then after that I don't think I read past that until now. And like, I don't like Bill. And then obviously new characters come in, stuff happens, but Bill, he's even described, vampires are described in the book as really pale and just, and he literally reminds me of a piece of white bread, and I cannot stand him. I really like Eric, which obviously has his faults, but Bill, I don't know, he just is boring. He doesn't add anything. He has no flavor. He's just a limp noodle. I'm sorry. But that's neither here nor there. The book was fine, 3 stars. It was a reread. These are just easy to read. That's all I got to say. Next, I did read the 7th one, which was Altogether Dead. Again, I have already read this one. This one, obviously, more drama happens. When is there never drama? And I swear, if I have to be told that Sookie's a telepath and knows how it just sucks to be a telepath. Like, it's like the same thing every time, and then she talks about her smile constantly. Like how she has to put on this weird smile because of all the stuff going on in her head. And again, that's fine. Like, I get it. But if you're repeating it over and over again, and if I have to hear about her boobs in one more book, though, I'm gonna lose it. I don't care about how big your boobs are. But good for you. No shame, no shade. Big boobs are good, I guess. For you, for people. I personally don't have big boobs, so I don't know that life. But good for you. I respect it, but I don't want to hear about it. I get it. I get it. But it was fine. It was 3 stars. More Eric. Bill can go away. Sorry about all the Bill hate, but he just doesn't add anything. He's just a broody white vampire character, and just ain't for me. Limp noodle. Piece of white bread. It was fine, 3 stars, easy to get through. Next, I finished The Final Empire. I actually started this around, I think I started it in September. So, let me explain. So, I know this is very beloved. Brandon Sanderson. Loved by the many, and I totally see it, but I was having an issue trying to get through the first portion of this book. For some reason, I found it hard to keep reading. I couldn't keep picking it up. Well, I could, but I didn't want to. It was enjoyable, but I wasn't. It was just for some reason, it was having problems processing in my brain. But then eventually I got the audiobook, and that really helped me along. And who boy, for some reason, I swear every booktuber or anyone who's talked about this book, I don't recall them saying anything about crying after a certain part in this book. No spoilers, but I was not prepared. I had to re-listen to that part like a few times while I was at work, because I was like, it was before the store opened. I had to go back a few times, and I'm like, actually had like a tear in my eye, even at work. I was like, what? And then I came home, re-listened to it, and read it together, and still was crying. Then I kept going, and I bawled my eyes out. This book kind of killed me at the end, and I don't recall people saying that it did that. And I'm like, no one has said that they cried. Am I just too emotional? Which there's nothing wrong with that. Disclaimer, nothing wrong with that. But I was like, did I read something different? Because I guess it must have been attached more than other people. But if people did, I'm with you. This got me. Like, Brandon didn't have me in that first part, but he sure as hell had me in that last part. Wow. This was really good. After I got past like the first 100 or so pages, and like the audiobook helped, and I enjoy the characters. For the most part, like, obviously Vin is a bit up and down. She has her good moments, but then she can do like irritating things and just not listen. And there's one part where I really think Kelsier really points something out that she wasn't seeing, and like, obviously I can't give spoilers, so it's kind of hard to describe, but I kind of appreciated that. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I loved Kelsier. I don't know what it was. I, for some reason, got attached to his character. I think he went through a lot. You kind of find out so much about him, and it was really good. Obviously, the beginning is hard to get through for me because with the Allomancy, it's like cool and all, but I am not one of those people who cares too much about like action. Like, it's good, but if it's like carried on for so long, I get bored. I'm not much of like an action person. I'm more of like the characters and like stuff. I don't care about fighting. And the parts where Kelsier's teaching Vin about Allomancy and being Mistborn, it was too much. It was too, for me, too descriptive. Like, this is all my opinion. Too much description going on. For me, too much. Like, too much description. Like, I get that, like, some people might enjoy that, but I just was like, okay, I get it. Can we, like, move on? It kind of made it harder to get through. But after a while, I was all for it. It was so good. It broke me. It broke me. I gave it a really high 4 stars. For my ratings, I use Callpile, which was started by G from Book Roast. It just makes it easier for me to know, even though I just realized that my ratings have been a little lenient and generous. So in 2022, it's the year of cracking down and being more ruthless with my ratings. And this was really high 4 stars. It was such a good end. After that, it went down. I finished Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the Grisha trilogy. I've been trying to read this book let's take a look, since October. So backstory, I tried reading Shadow and Bone 2-3 years ago. Couldn't get far into it. I was not having it. But I've been hearing a lot of stuff, even from work. My boss really enjoys the book. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get through these and see if I like them. So I got through the first one a few months ago, and I didn't really care for it. I don't like Alina that much, and I don't like Mal, and I don't like the Darkling. So already right there, maybe it's just not for me. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna continue, see how it is. This book, I, for some reason, gave it a 3. But I think, again, I was being too generous. So really, in my mind, is a 2. Because I assume that everyone knows what Shadow and Bone is about because of the show and because it's a popular series. This one is taking it on after the events of the end of that book, and I could not with Alina, and I could not with Mal, and again, I could not with the Darkling. And I think the only reason that this book got even a higher rating is, weirdly enough, I don't care about hype, but everyone's been hyping up Nikolai, and I have to agree, he is the only good thing about this book. Other than that, it's snooze fest. There's so many plot holes. If I have to hear about Alina wanting that third thing, I'm going to lose it. And how she's losing herself and changing, and oh my, and the whole thing with Mal, it pissed me off to no end when he did that thing. And I'm like, okay, that's not justified. I don't know why Alina would want to still, I found this to be so pointless, and the thing that happened at the end was so stupid to me. Like, all this for this, I didn't care for it. I put a 3, but it's really a 2. I'm gonna read the last one. I'm happy for you if you like these books, or if I don't like something that you do. It's nothing against you. Nothing against the author, it's just not for me. I don't have to like what everyone else likes, and you don't have to like what I like. You can disagree with me. It's like not that deep. So I didn't like it. You can like it. You can love the show. I'm not gonna watch it, but good for you. I'm glad people enjoy these books, and I'm happy for them. It's just not for me. Maybe the third book will be better, but as of right now, I don't get the hype, but I'm happy for people who do. There's books that I read that a lot of people don't like, and that is fine. My recommendations aren't, you know, for everybody, and other people's recommendations might not be for me, and that's fine. It's all good. But yeah, no, not for me. 2 stars. Then after that, just need something easy, something just easy to get through, and that was the 8th book in the Sookie Stackhouse novel From Dead to Worse by Charlene Harris. It was fine. I don't know if I could recall what happened. Oh yeah, this like takes place after Katrina. It's just more escapades with Sookie being wrapped up in all this supernatural vampire bullshit, you know, the usual with Sookie. Almost dying, you know. 3 stars. I just think that this is just a 3-star series. They're fun as you're reading. They're easy. Nothing too serious. They're like candy. You just can eat it up and then it's fine. Something comes out in this one, and I don't like Bill, so it doesn't matter to me. I don't have much to say about these books because they're just, again, too far into the series to give much information. It's just fine. It's just middle of the road, easy. I mean, it really deviates from the show. I never really got far into the show, but I know just from what I remember of like the first few episodes, it really deviates because they don't kill off a character that's killed off in the books like in the second one. So, very different. I'm kind of glad with the way the show, because I like that the show didn't kill that character off, because I really like that character, but he's not in the book. So it was fine. 3 stars. Next is a book that I wish I had not wasted my time reading. I only read it because I had asked for it and I wanted it, and my boyfriend was so nice to get it for me, and I forced myself to finish it because he got it for me, and it was such a waste of time. And again, disclaimer, if you like this book, good for you, happy for you. I did not. That book is A Court of Silver Flame by Sarah J. Maas. I hated this book. 1 star, right off the bat. 1 star. 1 star. I can't even put into words how much I did not like this book. I did read the original trilogy when it was in Feyre's perspective. I didn't like Nesta in those books, and I still did not like Nesta in these, and I knew that going in, and yes, then I shouldn't have read it, but I wanted to read it, you know. I wanted to know what could happen, and nothing in my mind is what happened. I don't like Nesta. Like, I can see certain aspects of Nesta's personality that I see why, but at the same time, it's taken to an extreme that I don't understand, and it's not for me to understand, and I just don't care enough to understand. Nesta sometimes is just bitchy for the sake of being bitchy, and I mean, it's accurate to how some people are, maybe, but I think that she was very selfish in her thinking. Like, obviously she went through trauma and everything, but even within the book, not really a spoiler, but something is said, and I totally agreed. She came at Elaine, and Elaine was like, you are upset about like something along the lines of being upset about her trauma. Like she's using Elaine's trauma as like a jumping off point for something. I forget exactly, but I don't have the book with me. I left it back in my parents' house because I was not about to lug that thing back from home. I agreed. I'm like, you are forgetting that you aren't the only one who went through something. And I get that that happens, but you have to stop being so self-absorbed. And I'm sorry, I don't understand the point of Cassian and Nesta. I don't care. I don't care about you having sex every 2 seconds, especially after like horrible things happen. You want to have sex. Like, I find that dichotomy so weird. Like, cool, do you, but I don't need it every 2 seconds, and I don't need it right after like that kind of scene. It was a 1 star. It was so cyclical, like nothing, it kept going around and around and around. In the end, that like the thing, the flimsy ass plot that she had in here, that like the shadow, the film of a plot that like was, I didn't get the point. And with the thing with Feyre, I honestly didn't care, but it was a 1 star. I just found no point to it. There was no, didn't add anything. It just didn't, for me personally, my opinion. Let's remember, my opinion. Happy for you if you liked it. I'm glad you found something that you enjoyed. I know Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin really enjoyed the book, and he found different aspects that he could understand her perspective, and I'm glad people were like that. Me personally, I just couldn't. It's just not for me, and that's fine. So 1 star. Next, I started reading on December 25th because I love Christmas. I was like, I'm gonna read something that I really enjoy, and that is Keeper of Lost Cities Unlocked 8.5. So it's not really a novel. It is there's a novella that happens right after book 8. Like it's like right after the events of book 8. So it's continuing that story, but it's only a novella. And then she included all this extra content within this book that's like, so it's not a novel. There's just like random information about characters, notes, things about like the food and all this other stuff, and I found it all interesting. I read it all, the novella. I cried kind of at the end, weirdly enough, because I really enjoyed this series. I heard about it from Ashley from a dash with a dash of ash. Is that her name? Yeah, I think so. She had read it and I'm like, that looks fun. I wanted something not really serious, something more light. Middle grade usually tends to be that way, so I've gotten more and more into middle grade because I have been having a hard time reading really serious books. So I was like, okay. So I got all of them, as you can see from behind me, read them like consecutively, and then finally read this because the next book doesn't come out. It's not said to come out until November something of 2022, so this year, but so long from now. We wanted to savor this since it's going to be so long, but I ended up reading one after another, and they're not, like, obviously they're not the best. They're not gonna be amazing literature, but they did it for me, like hit the spot, and I enjoyed them. Just like A Court of Silver Flame, it might hit the spot for somebody else, but it didn't for me. But this was fun. I enjoyed it, and it's like maybe a few pages or something less than A Court of Silver Flame, and I went through this faster than I did that. I started A Court of Silver Flame in November, and this was just fun. It also it's like information that's really cool to see that you don't see as you're reading the books. So that was cool. And I mean, it's not really a novel. It just has that stuff in the novella, but I still gave it 5 stars. I know, it's wrong, but I gave it 5 stars. And I stick by that. I really liked it. If you don't know, Keeper of the Lost Cities is the first book. It's about Sophie, who's also a telepath, funny enough. And she is in a higher grade than what she, like, her age is. Like, so in relation to her age, she's in a higher grade because, you know, she is special. She's ahead of everybody else and everything, and so she's, you know, bullied and everything. And this boy Fitz comes and finds her, and she finds out all this stuff about how she's, I don't know if it's a spoiler, I think it's on the back, that she's like not really human, and so he ends up taking her away, and stuff ensues from there. So I really enjoy it. Like, obviously there's parts in this series where I'm like, girl, but I enjoy it and I have a good time reading it. So that got a 5 stars. And last but not least, I read Dead and Gone by Charlene Harris, which is the 9th Sookie Stackhouse book. Again, can't say much. It's a 9th book. It's fine. 3 stars, middle of the road. It does what it needs to do. I think that they're fun and interesting enough to want to continue reading, even though sometimes I can get annoyed, but I enjoy it. For some reason, I enjoy it. There's some annoyances that I can't enjoy, and then this, I'm like, you know what, I can look past it because this is just easy and I'm just like eating up. And then I just go to the next book, and once it's done, it's done. And it's a 3 stars. It's good. And that's fine. Those are all the books that I finished in December. It's a good amount of pages. Some of them I started earlier than this December, but I'm glad I got through quite a bit, even though some of them were rereads. But all in all, it wasn't too bad. Could be better, but it could be worse. Hopefully, January would be better. I know more Sookie Stackhouse. I still have a few left, so definitely plan on finishing those. But all in all, December wasn't too bad, other than one really terrible one and one that annoyed me. Other than that, that's pretty much it. If you liked any of these books, that's great. If you didn't like any of these books, that's also fine. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully this gets easier as I go. But that's all I read in December. It wasn't too bad. It was a fun time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.